Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved have a vineyard in a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 1 to verse 2. First one, give all praises and honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the Most High God. Yahweh Shai is the Son of God. The true name is the Most High and His Son. And the well-beloved is the Lord. And the vineyard is Israel, the house of Jerusalem and the house of Israel, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, which Israel was supposed to bring forth fruit, or grapes, if you will, which is symbolic for righteousness and judgment. But behold, it brought forth wild grapes, which is unrighteousness, oppression, crying, wickedness. Israel has become a degenerate plant, or a degenerate vine, if you will. Which, when you go into that word degenerate, it goes into having lost or suffered impairment to the qualities proper to the race or kind. In the Latin, it means to be inferior to one's ancestor, to become unlike one's race or kind. Going deeper into the word degenerate in the Latin, it means to Salakia, away from. So Jake has failed, if you will. Jake has failed from that right mindset, that right state that they were once in. In fact, it will tell you that the nations that knew that Israel was that wise, great nation. In fact, let's get that real quick. Let's get Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, which is what? Keep this law, statutes, commandments, and judgments, and ordinances, which translates to orders. Right? It says, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. So these laws, statutes, commandments, and these judgments are, our understanding, is our wisdom in the sight of the nations. But now, Jake, the black, Hispanic, Native Indians, have become degenerates. Right? They have fell away from that state, that right whole state that they was in. Now, it will tell you that Israel, in the book of Titus, that their mind and conscience is defiled, meaning polluted, stained. And that's the minds of our people, man. Their morals messed up, where you have, woman laying with woman, man laying with man. People hearkening onto fables, fairy tales. being drunken, if you will, of the philosophies and false teachings in the world, from the world. It'll tell you that in the book of Hosea, that all people is destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And that's, exactly how our people is destroyed because of lack of knowledge. Even tell you that the leaders of our people are famished, meaning dried up, meaning having no knowledge, no understanding. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6, it says, "Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people." And it was once like that. You had many nations saying that we were wise and understanding people, man. But now look at us. In fact, let's get this. Job chapter 16, verse 15. I have sewed sackcloth upon my skin and defiled my horn in the dust. And that's exactly what happened. In fact, when you go into a horn, it's symbolic for strength and power, even glory. What is our strength? The Lord, man. The Lord is our strength. The Lord is our power, if you will. This wisdom and knowledge is a crown of glory. But because Jake have, departed away and have been unfaithful to the Lord, they have become weak. Our horn has been, put in the dust. I mean, it has been defiled, stained, man. Speaks about that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. This wisdom and knowledge is the horn of our aid. Dude, this wisdom and knowledge is the strength of our salvation, man. Which again, the horn is symbolic for strength. So by departing from these laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances and these judgments, he departed from God. Job chapter 19, verse 9, it says, "He hath stripped me of my glory." See, it says, "He hath stripped me of my glory." What is our glory? The wisdom and understanding that we had, man, by keeping those laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments, man. Right, we had the ability to judge between what is right and what is wrong. And that was a wise and understanding thing in the sight of all the nations. Now look at us. We're seen as Jake is seen as, subhuman, man, lesser men. In fact, in the beginning of this country, that was, very known amongst the so-called Americans, man, that the Negro is a lesser man. It says, "He have stripped me of my glory." Yeah, why the Lord stripped us of our glory? Because we had departed from him. We have been unfaithful. And we have, wandered in these other countries, in these other kingdoms and nations, and served other gods. That's why our glory has been stripped from us. It says, and taking the crown from my head. So the crown has been taken, man. Which it'll tell you in the book of Proverbs that wisdom, or even in Sirach. In fact, let's get that. Let's get Sirach real quick. So come back to the Lord, man. Let's get Sirach. Chapter 1, verse 'Salakia. Yeah, Sirach. Let's just get that. Sirach chapter 1, verse 11. The fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of wisdom, the fear of the Lord is honor. And that's another thing that Israel departed from, the fear of the Lord. It speaks about that there is no fear in their heart. There's no fear among them. They don't fear the Lord. It says, the fear of the Lord is honor and glory and gladness and a crown of rejoicing. Right? So now, Israel had departed from the Lord, departed from the laws, statutes, commandments, and departed from the fear of the Lord. Now they're bringing forth wild grapes, which is symbolic for wickedness, oppression, unfaithfulness, wrongdoing. Because what is wild grapes? When you go into the word wild, it goes into uncultivated. Uncultivated. Which, let's go into that word wild. Uncultivated real quick. Which means lacking of persons, lacking art or knowledge. Man, that's Jake, man. Jake has become, uncultivated, man. Wild. Uncontrolled. That's why you have Jake out here killing each other. Right? Jake neglect the matters of faith, mercy, judgment. They neglect it. Let's go back. In fact, let's get Jeremiah chapter 2. So Israel is now bringing forth wild grapes. This Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine. And that was once us. Remember when I went into Deuteronomy, that this truth, these laws, statutes, commandments, and judgments will be our wisdom and our understanding in the sight of all the nations. That was how we was noble. We were noble when we were with God, when we were obedient to God, obedient to the laws, statutes, commandments. It says, yet I had planted thee a noble vine, holy, a right seed. Yeah, that was when we were bringing forth grapes. When we were right, in a right state, man. Powerful. Where our name was, known abroad the whole world, man. It says, how then art thou turned into the degenerate? So Jake has been turned, if you will. Jake has been turned, man. into a degenerate. It says, how then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? Yet strange, meaning what? You have become Israel has become an alien, if you will. Cause what? We went and served other gods. We went and took on the fashions of the form of the other nations, metaphorically speaking. Now Jake today, which brothers has been touching on this recently, Jake today has been westernized, if you will, has a westernized mindset, which again, going to that word ordinance, it means to put in order, to set in order or order. Jake is not in order. Jake is confused. And when I say Jake, I'm talking about the regular black Hispanic and Native Indians that don't know none. So our people is confused, man. Right, but these laws, statutes, commandments will put them in order. But they're not going to hearken. Which when you go into that word strange, it means foreign, from without. Because Jake has been standing afar off from the Lord. Jake has been Jake departed from the Lord, if you will. Let's get this. Let's get the book of 2 Thessalonians. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. Which when you go into that word falling away, it goes into apostasy. Or let's go into the word apostasy. Which when you go into the word apostasy in the Latin or in the Greek, it means to revolt, defection, or standing off, or to stand away. So Jake basically, our people basically departed or abandoned the truth, the right way, the right path. Which that right way is what? Being obedient unto the Lord, being obedient unto the Lord, being obedient unto the laws, statutes, commandments, unto the judgments. Going deeper into it, it means a standing off or to stand away. Which when you go into that word defection, it means action of deserting or abandoning, basically abandoning that faith or abandoning that path, man, that Israel is supposed to be on. We are supposed to bring forth grapes, not wild grapes. We're supposed to be righteous. We're supposed to keep laws, statutes, commandments, judgments that was given unto us, Israel. But now we bring forth wickedness. It says, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man in sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that has already happened, man. That falling away has already happened. Let's get this. Let's get Malachi. That's why, it's written that 2/3 of Israel is going to die. Malachi chapter 3, verse 7. It says, even from the days of your fathers, ye are gone away from my ordinances. See, hey, we have gone away from the ordinances, man. From the orders, from the laws, statutes, and judgments, man. See, a standing far off, or standing off, or to stand away. It says, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith the Lord of hosts. But ye have said, wherein shall we return? Verse 8, it says, will a man rob God? And that's what our people have done, man. Our people have robbed God, man. The Lord had, brought us forth out of captivity, which was the first captivity, which was Egypt, where we were serving hardcore bondage under the Egyptians. The Lord delivered us from that. The Lord delivered us from many nations, helped us take down kingdoms and kings, and planted us in a very fruitful hill, which was Israel, which was Jerusalem, a land flowing with milk and honey. But then, after all that, you have Jake still being rebellious, still being wicked. When you go into history, many times have Israel been overthrown by other nations. It says, why? Because of our wickedness. The Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Romans. Now the so-called Americans, Caucasians. Why have they overthrown us? Because of our wickedness. It says, verse 8, it says, will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In fights and offerings? Verse 9, it says, ye are cursed with a curse. And that's exactly what happened, man. You have been cursed with the curse, which is the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. The curses of disobedience. Now you have murder, black on black crime. Now you have Jake, living in the slums. Jake, homeless. Jake, drugged up, become junkies. Jake still getting oppressed in their own city. Jake so much, but bring in little, meaning what? Work, but still can't pay the bills, still struggling. One mother households, one parent households, many widows. Far more other things that that's upon us, man. So we have been cursed with the curse amongst the other nations, man. It says, why? Because we have departed from our God. It says, ye are cursed with the curse, for ye have robbed me. Yeah, we robbed the Lord. And how we do that? By what? Being disobedient. By what? Being unfaithful. That's how we robbed. And that's why we got judged. Here it is, we in a covenant, which Jake was in a covenant, man. What is a covenant? An agreement, man. a bill, if you will, a marriage, man. Which, really when you go into the word covenant, you will find those words. So it's an agreement. Which, let's get Amos real quick. Since I'm speaking on that, let's get Amos. You know? So that's how you rob, man. That's how you robbed. Because you broke the covenant. You disobeyed and trespassed against the covenants, against the laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinance. You have been unfaithful. That's why we cursed amongst the nations, man. That's why we put low. That's why we got the curses of Deuteronomy 28 upon us, man. Because we have been disobedient. Remind you, covenant goes into agreement. It's not no one-way street. It's a two-way street. Just like a marriage, it's not no one-way street. It's a two-way street. Where two has to put in the work. Where two has to be faithful, not one. A damn woman be unfaithful and a man gonna leave her. A damn woman has been unfaithful, the man gonna leave her and take all his things, man. And Israel have been that unfaithful wife, if you will. It's Amos chapter 3, verse 2. It says, you only have, verse 2. Matter of fact, let's get Amos chapter 3, verse 1. It says, hear the word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. So the Lord only knew all our families, man. Which is Israel, the black, Hispanic, and the Indians, and the other tribes of Israel, man. The Lord only knew us. And the Lord chose us. And we are, even speak about in the book of Deuteronomy, that we have been made, or Exodus, we are a peculiar treasure unto the Lord, man. We were a peculiar treasure unto the Lord. When the Lord brought us out of Egypt. It says, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Can two walk together except they be agreed? So can two walk together except they be agreed? And making an example, can two friends continue or two partners continue being partners except they be agreed, man? And again, covenant goes into agreement, an association. So Israel have not, we have not, in the past, even today, we have not kept our part of the deal, if you will. We have been unfaithful. That's why we're being destroyed. That's why we're still being oppressed. That's why we're poor and lowly, needy. That's why our feet cannot rest where we dwell. That's why we're fearful. That's why we're still, to this day, in our captivity. It says, can two walk together except they be agreed? No, so we have not, kept that part of the deal, but a remnant, if you will, is coming back to the Lord and being obedient and worshiping the Lord, man, in truth. But the 2/3 of Israel, man, y'all gotta die, man. Y'all are gonna die, and it's inevitable. And Lord, we're not part of that 1/3, the elect. It's the book of. So come back to the Lord, man. That's what the prophets are here for. To exhort and to command y'all to come back. To come to this truth. Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. It says, ye are the salt of the earth. Israel, we are the salt of the earth. Remember, we are that wise and understanding people. We were once that wise, understanding people in the sight of all the nations. Like, who's more lively than Israel? Who more lively than us, man? Who could dance like us? Who can, move like us, man? Who got the same spirit like us? No one, man. That's why we are the salt of the earth. It says, but if the salt hath lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? Yeah, we have lost that, our people have lost that understanding, that wisdom, that knowledge. Our people have departed from those, the laws, statutes, commandments that the Lord given us. So we have therefore lost that savor, that flavor, if you will. It says, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing. That's why Jake has become a degenerate, if you will. Good for nothing. That's why it's prophesied that 2/3, 2 parts of Israel has to be cut off and die. And that's where those nukes come into play. Jake is going to get burned up by nuclear fire. Jake is going to die in World War III. Jake is going to starve in these last days, if you will. It says, it is thenceforth good for nothing, but the elect, those of, Lord, we're not part of that number. Those of us that came to this truth and started believing in Yahushua, started keeping the faith, why we're, good for something. We're, kept, if you will. We're chosen, a remnant that's chosen, if you will. And the elect of Israel. It says, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. So that's the only thing that has to happen, man. For the wicked, for the rebellious, has to be cast out and be trodden under the foot of men. That's exactly what's going to happen, man. Especially during martial law. And that's what happened during 70 AD when the Roman Empire came and besieged Jerusalem. Which I don't know, too much of the what happened, but I'm sure many people died, man. That's what happens in an overthrow. Let's get this real quick. Wisdom of Solomon. I'm going to close off on this. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 21. It says, such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness had blinded them. See, that's what happened, man. It says, matter of fact, I'm going to get Titus after this. It says, as for the mysteries of God, they knew them not, neither hoped they for the wages of righteousness. Now people don't hope, they don't desire the wages of righteousness. It says, nor discern a reward for blameless souls. And that's a part of being that degenerate. It says, for God created man to be. Matter of fact, we could jump to Titus. Right, so those sheep, which that 1/3 of Israel is going to come back like sheep, like a sheep that returned unto his shepherd. Titus chapter 1, verse 15. It says, unto the pure all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. But even their mind and conscience is defiled. Which, when you go into that word defiled, it means polluted. I think polluted, stained, or something like that. And that's the mind of the people, man. What you have is a term called a moral compass. Israel has a screwed up moral compass, man. They cannot judge between what is right and good. Why? Because they think that which is good. I mean, really, in the sight of the people, that which is good is evil, and that which is evil is good in the sight of the people, man. They had made sweet the bitter and bitter the sweet. It says, they profess that they know God, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate. Which means reprobate, I got it right here, it's a little thing. It says void of judgment. Void of judgment. Void of that understanding, of that wisdom. But these ordinances in these scriptures, man, is going to put people in order. Which that really, that's why really, you really got to be born again. Put back in order, man. In the right way. Be renewed, if you will. Which made new again. So I'm going to close out on that. Lord willing, this video is edifying. Double honors to the elders of the house of David. Peace and blessings unto the elect. Salute and shalom to the fellow laborers in his truth. And all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. Shalom.